Hello and welcome to the Armchair Analysts podcast. This is episode 14. I'm your host, Johnny, and with me always is...
Ace.
Yeah, man. Wow, 14 episodes. It's been a sweet long quarantine.
That's one more than a baker's dozen.
That's 2 touchdowns, boss. That's 2 touchdowns. And we're going to be looking at a lot of NFL draft recaps, so be prepared to hear a Packers fan be irate if you haven't done so already.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to be too vociferous about the whole thing. I'm trying to process it on my own terms, but
plus as a Vikings fan, I'm a little bitter with some stuff, but yeah, we'll get into that for sure.
Before we get there, if you haven't followed us already on Twitter, we are at AA Podcast, and I mean, we're literally on every platform available right now. So no matter what you listen on, other than Pandora, because no one uses Pandora. Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah, switch to Spotify.
Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, Stitcher. I mean, everything. Deezer, Podcast Addict, all the good stuff. We're there. And also, if you don't want to listen on an app, you don't want to make an account, whatever, hit us up on YouTube. We post our most recent episodes on there as well. So without further ado, we want to get to Ace's personal coronavirus update. What you been doing? What's going on in Mintown?
Both of ours. But yeah, I'll start. Oh man, we're scratching at 4,000 infected. I think we're still under 300 dead, or maybe 200. I don't know. It's either way. There were some protests last week, 17th or 18th, and then the 25th Saturday, which did not help those numbers at all. People, we had a week to go. Next Monday, May 4th, the governor will not anymore. He's going to be coming out soon, within the next couple days, and probably give us an extended 2 weeks, because people can't respect 1 week. God, that bugs me. It gets, honestly, most of the industries, from what I've heard, because they're getting that $600 check from the federal government, they're making more to sit on their asses than to actually work at their jobs.
Yeah, I've actually heard a lot of people who are they're actually excited about this because they A, don't like their job, and B, might be making more than they were previously. So that's not forever. That's going to run out, and that's going to make things a lot more difficult for them down the road. I mean, if you had 3 months off of work and you had to go back to a full-time job, I feel like that would be pretty effing hard. So yeah, even working from home, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag for me. I like it at times, but most of the time it's hard to. You can only use Teams and video chatting so much. It's nice to have everyone there for a nice staff meeting and all that kind of crap, but
yeah,
I digress.
Oh, absolutely. And the worst part is they're just delaying the inevitable now, and now this means more of those industries are going to stay shut down. They were protesting at the governor's house, for crying out loud, a busy street in St. Paul. Oh.
Well, I mean, in Madison there was a similar. Yeah. There was a lot of people protesting. Actually, I mean, everyone always protests at the Capitol building, but it's becoming more of a thing, and I don't know. I understand why people are pissed about it. Small business owners. I understand why, people working hourly jobs or people that got furloughed, laid off, they're pissed. It's been pretty difficult. I think we both have been very fortunate, and my family's been pretty fortunate. But
yeah,
I get it, but I also don't understand why the hell you would go in a large group to do this.
I mean,
if you want him to open up early, maybe don't gather in groups of 500 plus.
I don't know. And it's not even worth it to start getting into the conspiracy theories, but
well, we'll have to make a new podcast for that, because I think pretty much everyone's got a little tinfoil on their head these days. So are you doing anything cool lately? Anything fun you did in the last week that you wouldn't normally have done, maybe?
I made some fried chicken yesterday, which I haven't made in a while. So
that's normally make fried chicken.
No, not from scratch. I can't I golfed for the first time.
There it is.
We're almost finishing the basement. That's going to be done this week. So I mean, just that housework, I guess, that I haven't done before ever.
Okay.
What about you?
We have been trying to book a fall, my father's 60th birthday, my girlfriend's 30th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to book vacation spots, looking at Cabo, looking at Bermuda, a couple other places, St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, stuff there. So I've been working with my parents. I ordered the portal, I set up the portal, I sent the portal down there with Wisconsin beef sticks and cheese curds. So they got that yesterday. So we'll
Oh,
probably be using that a
yes.
little bit this weekend. Yeah, I had to come up with some local treats, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, nothing too crazy other than that. It's getting a little nicer. I've been hunting for a bike like religiously, so, and obviously no stores are open, so I've been using Craigslist. So I went to a dude's house and like rode his bike. I don't know, it's weird. I don't like. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of used stuff, but I mean,
That's gonna be
bikes,
awkward. Test driving a bike.
right? Like, hey, like I'm gonna go ride this. Or, I don't know. It was weird, but it's
Hey,
getting nicer.
Did you tighten the spokes up, dude?
Well, we put the baseball card in the spokes, so.
Oh yeah.
It had a new bell and pretty basket, so I was thinking about going with it. No, it's just weird. I don't know. But it got us out of the house, you know.
Good.
So I mean,
good.
It was kind of cool. But filled up for 99 cents at Costco gas station the other day, so that's pretty cool. Literally the lowest I've ever filled a car up for in my life. That's kind of neat.
That's insane.
All right, I know that you have some huge news. I'm excited about it. You're excited about it. I heard we have a UFC. We got some dates, man.
Yeah, it's the UFC is set to resume May 9th in Jacksonville, Florida, and that's going to coincide with two dates to follow, May 13th and May 16th. It seems like it'll all be in Florida, but the venue in Jacksonville may change. Who knows? Dana White's pushing forward with this, and it's actually I was watching one of the fighters that's going to headline the May 9th bout, Justin Gath versus Tony Ferguson. Justin Gath is a beast, this white dude, and then Tony Ferguson's kind of a cocky guy, but also just as talented, and whichever one of them wins takes on Khabib. So it should be a good fight, and Khabib, can't even pronounce his last name. Nagatomaida? I don't know. Whatever. He's got the belt. So it's going to be the first sport.
Without fans, though, right?
It looks like it's going to be without fans. Number one, it's going to be the first sport back too. So I'm going to guess that a lot of eyes are going to be on that pay-per-view buy.
God, yeah.
And
that's why they're doing it.
It says they're looking at an island thing in June, but is correct. Everything is going to be without fans for now, and honestly, there's rumors that we may be out, or all sports may be without fans until 2021, but I don't want to segue us too much.
Yeah, it's painful. I mean, there's concerts. I mean, Summerfest is still, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in the air that I don't really want to think about, because if it got canceled, it's really just, it's going to make 2020 just one of the, it's not going to be great. No need for expletives. Some more good news. Baseball with the 3-state possibility, having games in Arizona, Texas, and Florida. That's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be St. Petersburg, Arizona. I think it's Phoenix, and Texas. It's likely going to be in Arlington or Houston area, I think. I don't know. Again, it'll probably be without fans, but at least we'll be able to watch something again. Live sports, baby.
Yeah, if they sell beer, I mean, hey, sure, let's go.
Probably
I don't know
not.
anyone on either of these teams, but I'm drinking and watching a sporting event. Let's go.
They're not going to sell beer. You'd have to walk to your fridge, yourself. But hey, maybe bars will be open by then. Who knows?
Yeah, we can only hope. Well, that's some positive news. We're moving in the right direction. I know the NBA also announced earlier this week that teams that in states that will lifting up the restrictions, they'll begin practicing. I know we're talking about practice, but still, like it's a step in the right direction. We're moving towards
same facility.
Yes, team facility. Yeah,
team facility.
So,
okay.
Which, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It gets you into a whole nother can of worms. Like, are we even, just because they're practicing, are they going to finish out the regular season for NBA? Is it going to be an abbreviated schedule? Is it going to be picked up where it left off kind of thing? You just finish out the rest?
Yeah.
People are just go right into playoffs. Like, that's messed up. You can't do that.
People are more skeptical about the tests too. Like, how can how are you going to be able to test these people when there's a shortage already in this country for getting COVID-19 tests? So that's going to
not only that, but you see the maturity of the players. You see, Rudy Gobert. Like,
yep, yeah.
You see, I understand. Like, things have changed a lot since that initial, I don't even what do you want to call it, but his initial stupidity. But but at the same time, it's like you got to realize that some of these guys aren't that old, and they're going to be in very close proximity. And then, like, if you have the players, then you have the media, the coaches, the training staff. Like, it just because you have the team there, basically it doubles the size of the amount of people just with the people that go with that team. So. Yeah, I mean we're inching toward the finish line, but it's not looking good.
Yeah.
Do we just go right into it? Are we doing this?
do we dare?
Okay,
do we dare?
Before we get into individual teams, I think we should kind of chit chat a little bit about some of the interesting and maybe not so great things about the virtual draft. Is there anything in particular that you saw that you thought was ridiculous, or something you thought that was awesome?
Bill Belichick has the cutest little husky dog.
that runs the team, that has secretly been a mastermind behind the Patriots.
That is how bad he hates to be on TV. He knows that when he's up on the screen and they flash to them, he just gets up, feeds the dog, and leaves.
I mean, and you thought Marshawn Lynch didn't like the camera.
Yeah. Otherwise, Roger Goodell doing those random things with the fans to either get on their case or just try to do their chants, the team chants.
It was uncomfortable. It was cringeworthy. Mm-hmm. It was a nice overall effort, I thought, with everybody. But yeah. Everyone was talking about how this might be the first year we get an NFL draft without people booing Goodell, but he was actually like inciting the crowd, like, "Come on, Patriots fans, you're not booing. What's going on? Like, you can't invite like what." Mm-hmm. Is he just like embracing the fact that he's just a giant meme right now? I don't know.
Sitting in his plush house just outside.
Yeah, well, you saw Cliff Kingsbury's house, right?
Oh wow! Yeah, this was the most watched, the most viewed by a ton. 55 million, I think it was, that I read.
Up until the Packers pissed me off in the third round, I had watched everything up until then. So I was tempted to go back just because it was something. It gave me it was something new. It wasn't like a rebroadcasted game. It wasn't rehashed content. It was like it was updated content. And I thought they had an interesting approach to it too, because they had some panelists on there. You could listen to an alternative stream where it was literally like just a bunch of current / former players, Aaron Andrews, and like a couple other reporters, and they all just kind of weighed in on the picks. Like it wasn't like the live anything, but I don't know, like that was interesting to listen to for a little bit.
We didn't know anything about the picks either, outside of a handful of we knew this was a deep class for a number of different reasons: quarterback, receiver, all that. I think even offensive linemen. But overall, you still learned something because we didn't know a lot about the players going in anyways, or majority of them. And yeah, it was exciting. I thought overall, technology-wise, it went pretty good. There was some random, like, depressing questions that they ended up talking with players about, but it's
I mean, I guess I'm kind of torn. Like, I'm glad that they were matching dollar for dollar for the relief fund, but plugging it like in between almost every pick, it got kind of exhausting. I did like that they had stuff for the first responders and the medical people, but I don't know. It started to detract from the event after a while. I don't know. I have family and friends in medicine, so I definitely am not making a slight towards them, but
no,
I guess I kind of feel the room. Like it felt like a little much, but it also having Trey Wingo ask me for money. It's like you got to realize that a lot of reason there is a relief fund is because people lost their jobs and have no money. The stimulus went out to everybody because they lost jobs and have I mean, again, unfortunately, we aren't part of that class, so obviously they were speaking toward us. But I don't know. It was. I thought it was really cool. I'm surprised that they were able to get everything off as flawlessly as they did.
I am too.
there was only a few times where they had technical issues, nothing really long lasting and experience ruining. But
yeah,
I liked it. I feel like a lot of people, at least not people, but a lot of the future potential draft picks are going to be more comfortable doing it from their homes now. I know that there was already a good group that wanted to and enjoyed doing it or preferred doing it that way, but
well, especially because you can advertise easy there, signs in the backdrop and all that.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't get the jersey and the hat,
yeah,
and you don't get the hug from good old Roger, right?
Some of those guys had the hats. Some of those guys, like, clearly you knew where you were going, or you had a couple different hats. Like,
you got to admit that some of this stuff had to be done beforehand because they had a lot of the footage and stuff ready to go at the houses. So
yep.
And they were actually showing Jordan Love before, so I think it might have been a little bit ahead just to make sure everything went smoothly. So
yeah,
it's whatever. That's fine.
Yeah.
Before we get too deep, I think we should start talking about your beautiful Vikings.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can kick it off. I was debating between a C and a C plus, and I'm gonna go with a C for now. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, but it had nothing to do with our draft picks because I thought overall we did well. It had everything to do with not trading to get Trent Williams because the 49ers only had to give up a third and a fifth round. That's ridiculous. And we traded away those picks to get later picks, the 6th and 7th round. We had like 7 picks in the 7th round or something ridiculous. We broke the record of 14. We had 15 picks overall in the entire draft. And, we got a receiver, Jefferson. We got a couple cornerbacks that are feisty guys. Jeff Gladney being the first one from TCU. We got a couple offensive linemen the big guy, Ezra Cleveland, yeah. Out of BYU, I think. He should come on well for us. But overall, I mean, to think we could have had a starting left tackle to protect Cousins' blind side,
Lord knows he needs it.
So it had more to do with Rick Spielman being a dummy when it comes to picks. So Jefferson, I think, should start. What's going to happen, he'll be in the slot, and then Thielen will be outside, or at least play more outside, because Jefferson, the majority of his routes at LSU were in the slot. Even, I was watching the Clemson highlights. I did a little research on him. But I was watching the Clemson game, all targets, and then a couple other games, and I don't think he left the slot at all in the Clemson game for sure. So, but still, I don't know. I never get too high because I've realized what sports is. It's a nice outlet. It's a nice outlet sometimes, but I don't.
Yeah. It's the beauty of the off season. You can't get too disappointed because you don't know what's going to happen yet.
Yeah. We filled some needs at least, which was good, and I still think we probably needed another defensive player. The good news is we got that guy for the Ravens. I brought him up before, the D tackle Michael Pierce, I think, which is going to help because we lost Linval Joseph. So whatever, replace. That's kind of how it goes. Honestly, though, I think the Lions had the best draft class in our division. Bears,
yeah, they did really well.
Yeah, if you had to choose, but I kind of honestly, I'm just making dead air to keep it open for you, so you don't blow a gasket.
You're just baiting me, aren't you?
A little bit, yeah.
All right, before I get into Green Bay, I just want to ask: do you think that Jefferson was picked literally just to troll the Packers?
Oh.
Did they? Because there wasn't. I know that Diggs said check you later. There was a need, but was there a first round need?
No. Okay. And especially when you sent our friends in that group chat about all time pass leaders with first round draft pick touchdowns, and Rodgers has one throw into a first round draft pick. That's embarrassing.
Do you know who that was, by the way?
No. This is a good...
Mercedes Lewis last year. If that gives you any perspective, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Yeah, jeez. No, I think in a way, yes, it was. And to be honest, I don't know what other receivers were left at that point, but he was. I know a couple guys had him as Chris Sims, for instance, had him as the second best receiver in the draft.
Hmm.
So he could have it could have just been best player available too for us. But regardless, I mean, I know you're going to talk about this a ton. It's like feed Rodgers some freaking talent for God's sakes. You clearly are showing your hand in what you want to do and how you want to beat teams by running the ball. But criminy.
Well, and that's something we knew from LaFleur from day one. Like when he was OC for the Titans, like he values clock control. He values running the ball. He values defense, and that's pretty much everything that he's kind of went with in the last two drafts. I mean, there was no questioning what was going to happen after the first couple picks. It's hard to digest because this
Is that what the fans want? I'm curious.
It doesn't matter what the fans want.
I know,
it's relevant.
but they have a lot of say in that town. I wonder if
No,
no,
it doesn't matter.
So they trust
griping for years.
Okay,
no, we just have to accept it. What are you gonna do? You're gonna protest? Like, it doesn't matter. But just listening and seeing like the social media shitstorm that's come, you realize how ignorant some fans are.
Yeah.
Personally, I have known for the last few months that it's the deepest wide receiver class in draft history, like top to bottom, like just the like physical and just amazing talent from top to bottom. And we didn't pick for 2 years in a row. We did not draft a wide receiver. So I mean, again, they went out and they picked up Devin Funchess, which literally missed almost all of last season. He played like 2 series for Indy and then missed the rest of the season. We essentially swapped out Geronimo Allison for Devin Funchess, which as a number 3 option, maybe number 2. I mean, as much as I like Alan Lazard, he hasn't had enough reps and time to show that he can be a number 2, and he doesn't quite have the speed that you're really looking for a good number 2. So it's going to be hard to see how he grows, but I'm hoping for the best. Jordan Love, I knew that the Packers were going to draft a quarterback. I knew it was coming, and I'm not super upset about drafting in the first because obviously there's precedence there, but it's not like Love is the same caliber draft pick that Rodgers was when we did it. So it's, you're going from someone who's like literally it was him or Alex Smith. Like everyone was saying consensus, one of these guys is getting picked number 1 overall. Which one is it?
Yeah.
And it was pretty divided 50-50. So when he was available in the mid-20s, I mean, obviously you're going to take him. So it was hard. I know that the draft board got really mucked up early when there was a ton of wide receivers. 6 wide receivers were taken before the Packers picked. 6 in the first round. There's 32 teams, bro.
Jeez.
6 wide receivers were taken. And we mentioned how Justin Jefferson was picked up by the Vikings. Literally the pick before Green Bay. Vikings again colluding. The San Francisco traded. They ended up trading picks to the Vikings to get the pick before Green Bay to select another wide receiver. So 6 wide receivers taken before. So that obviously changes your plans. The value just wasn't there to reach for a wide receiver in the first. I get it, but it's hard, man. Love. 2 drafts in a row, your very first pick in the draft was a developmental pick. Like last year was Rashawn Gary, a very talented athlete, but it's like he wasn't going to contribute immediately. Love's not really going to contribute immediately. Obviously, God willing, Rodgers, if something happens, obviously he's going to have to step in. You can't be a first-round pick, make that money, and not go in, So, and then they drafted a running back after. We had... Last year, Aaron Jones, 19 total touchdowns. It's hard to see those 2 picks and still be confident in the rest of the draft. I love the tight end pick, Josiah DeGuara. He's a very versatile H-back, can do pretty much everything. We did let go of our fullback, so it's going to be nice to see him back there. He can line out, he can split out too, and obviously block fairly well. But the problem is with acquiring Love, they traded a 4th rounder, which we have been historically very successful with 4th round picks. I don't know if David Bakhtiari rings a bell, but he was a 4th round pick. I could the mid picks are really, really where the the Packers kind of make the most damage. Um, it's hard when you see, you know, that kind of value, and they literally because of that they missed almost I think it was like 85 picks in between, because the third round pick was 94th overall, and then they didn't pick again until the end of the fifth. So there's so much you're missing out on there just because you lost that pick. So fortunately, they had a lot of compensatory picks from trades, but I mean, they picked up an inside linebacker, which was desperately needed. Some O-line depth. I picked up a new center because they might be moving our current center out. And then the rest is just depth. Like, there was no immediate impact player. The only one that might get some playing time would be the tight end and probably the running back, A.J. Dillon, because this is kind of writing on the wall that Jamal Williams is probably gone. So I don't know. You see time and time again that when the GMs and coaches, when they come into a program, they want their own guy. They inherited Rodgers. They didn't pick Rodgers. So they're looking for their guy. They want to have something that they can go on and grow the program with down the road for the future. So
did you watch any tape on him, Jordan Love?
He played in a weak conference. It's really like anyone can. If you see a wide receiver wide open, it's kind of hard to judge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Clearly, but the thing is like I will say this, because that Gutekunst and LaFleur made the move that they did, knowing that Rodgers, knowing that the fans, knowing that just the general populace would just look over and be like, "What the," you know, it's pretty ridiculous. Like he had to have really wanted Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that all the flame and horrible feedback he was going to get, he had to have really wanted the guy. So that in itself gives me some hope. So I could keep going on, but the 2 drafts in a row, it looks like they're building for the future, adding very little for immediate impact. And when you were a game away from the Super Bowl, it is damn hard to watch that as a fan.
Yeah.
You know, you watch that defense get gashed for 400 rushing yards. Literally only had to throw 8 passes the entire game. And
a big part, I think, why they got Love then is because didn't they trade up for that anyways, like you mentioned, or how did that, or they had that pick, or how did that? Because Jefferson, I think, was our snipe, the Vikings snipe, clearly.
Yep.
So, I mean, he was one of the better receivers, so we had to take him, knowing that you guys likely would have, or somebody. Available. Yep.
But that just goes to show you that probably wasn't their plan in the long run. They didn't draft a wide receiver last year when they definitely needed one. They didn't draft a wide receiver this year when they definitely needed one. So it's going to be focused on defense, which they didn't really add anything in free agency or really the draft. They drafted Kamal Martin from Minnesota for inside presence. We lost both of our inside linebackers, so I want to have faith, but it's hard, man. It's hard. I'm hoping that some people really step up and make some moves, but I think they're planning for post Rodgers at this time, and that's really, really sad to think about as a fan.
Yeah.
We'll delve into it a little bit more next week. I think that was pretty exhaustive. But I know that you have some baseball you want to cover, and we have to get to the best part of the show, right? Aces Quick Six. What do we got this week, boss?
Yes. So it's going to be the Twins Brewers. And it's divided, the lineups are divided up by international versus U.S. So it's going to be a mix of players. And I'll tell you, the lineup for the international team is heavy for the Twins. I figured we'd have some fun with this since nobody's playing games right now. So we do a battle between combination of the Twins and the Brewers teams divided into international and U.S. So starting pitchers, Jose Barrios, Kenta Maeda, Michael Pineda, and Freddie Peralta. Lineup: Miguel Sano's at first base, Luis Arraez second base, Ahir Adrianza at third base, Jorge Polanco shortstop, Eddie Rosario left field, Max Kepler center, Avisail Garcia right field, Omar Neves center, Nelson Cruz DH. All right, the team for the U.S.: Jake Odorizzi, Adrian Hauser, Brandon Woodruff, Eric Lauer, Homer Bailey. Pitchers. Lineup: Ryan Braun gets a nod at first. Woo woo. Brock Holt, second base. Josh Donaldson, third base. Eric Sogard, shortstop.
Ugh.
Your boy Christian Yelich, left field. Lorenzo Cain, center. Ben Gamel, right field. Mitch Garver, catching. And our DH, Byron Buxton. I think International takes this one by a lot. folks.
Yeah, it's not even close. It's not even close. If you've got Eric Sogard in there, it's an auto loss, I think.
Mm-hmm. But that's it. Kept it short and sweet this week.
Short and sweet, to the point, and man, does it make me wish baseball was being played right now. Jesus.
Take your mind off the draft.
Yeah, right? Watch some yelly RBIs and home runs, some Bernie Brewer going down the slide. That would be fantastic right now.
Oh.
But like we mentioned earlier, we got some sports on the calendar right now. Things are moving towards getting back to at least being able to watch it. You might not be able to go, you might not be in the stands, but you'll be able to watch it. And you'll be able to gamble on it. Two very important things, at least for me. So
absolutely.
Well, that is our time. I think we covered a lot of good stuff. Hopefully we weren't ranting too much. I tried to keep my emotions in check, but, it's not always easy after you've been thinking about something all week. But if you're not already, please give us a follow on Twitter at AA Podcast. Follow, subscribe, comment, do whatever you need to do. We're on every major platform for podcasts. Feel free to check into us. We'll be here every week. And we're also on YouTube. That is episode 14. Thank you guys for listening. Don't care how you do it as long as you do. I am Johnny, and that is Ace, and we are out.